1, 2.
Why do you sound like you don't
3.
What's up, guys? It's Ben Kim, the 2.4 Pre-Pt. Welcome back to our channel, and today we are going over our major takeaways from our visit at the University of St. Augustine, San Marcos campus. So here with me today are these two ladies.
Hi, I'm Nyasha Abrams, Neuro Pre-PT, becoming Dr. Nye, and and today we actually visited St. Marcos, and
I'm Gail, Gail Marie Dog Pre-PT.
Alright guys, so one of the major takeaways we took today was learning about how the University of St. Augustine looks at their applicants. So they like to look at them holistically. So what that means is they look at your whole application, not just like mostly your cumulative and that's it. So the way the school looks at your GPA is actually they break it down into 4 categories. So there's your cumulative GPA, there's your last 40 to 60 units, there's your core sciences, which include chem, bio, anatomy, and physio and physics, and then there's your prereq GPA. And so what they'll do, all those have equal weight, and so whatever those 4 GPAs are, they'll average that out. So if you're lacking in cumulative, you can definitely make it up in the other 3 to balance that out. Alright guys, and then for the GRE, well, the minimum that they expect is a 147 for each category of the GRE, but really after, especially since San Marcos is the most.
For each section.
Yeah.
147 times 2 is 290.
oh, sorry.
Bloopers, beep.
Yeah.
Alright, so for the University of St. Augustine, for the GRE, they typically expect a minimum of 147 per category, so 147 verbal, 147 quantitative minimum, but since the San Marcos campus is so sought after and there's so much competition, they definitely recommend at least a 150 in each category to be competitive.
And then one thing, if you do have a master's degree that is completely finished, you will have the GRE waived, but it has to be completely finished. So if you're in progress with your master's degree, you will still have to take the GRE.
So one question that I actually asked during the tour, and a question that is important to me as a pre-PT as I'm seeking out physical therapy stools. I heard it. This is why I don't do YouTube.
It's okay.
So one question I asked during the tour, and that is an important question to me as I'm seeking out physical therapy schools, is how...
Alright, Gail's going first.
We're not gonna get anything done today.
You're just clapping. Okay. So one thing that's really important for me when I'm applying to physical therapy schools is being able to have my clinical internships almost anywhere in the United States or even outside of the United States if possible. So one thing that I really loved about University of St. Augustine and what really put them on the list for me is being able to go to almost every 50 states in the United States and even being able to go international, like in Europe. What else? They said possibly Australia. What other places did they say? And some in Africa. Did they say some in Africa?
They said
South America.
They basically said as long as you can speak the language,
right,
and they're teaching the curriculum that you need to genuinely learn, you should be fine. Mm-hmm. And they like the fact that, you know, some students want to start programs in certain countries, and like the leadership aspect of that and being like basically the first one to really do it in the programs. They really back you on that, which is really important. Like the fact that you want to do leadership, you know, in your physical therapy school and having your school support you through that venture is also pretty good.
And another big thing too, which is like, it's not super common in the other physical therapy schools I've at least heard of, is that each cohort is really close to each other as well. When some physical therapy schools, like each cohort is kind of just like on their own and they don't really like do things together. University of St. Augustine, like every single cohort kind of like mixes in, like interacts with each other, which is really important.
And what I noticed that was really important, I don't know if you guys noticed too, there were a lot of like mixers and stuff. Like they had like social gatherings posted on like the walls for everyone to like really pull together and honestly have like almost unwinding time and social time, because it's a really competitive and really intense circumstances that you're in. And a lot of people coming from all over the country, so they might not have family. And to have your cohort be your support group as well, and have your faculty and staff support that idea as well, I think is really important, because school is stressful enough.
Yeah.
If you can have some unwinding time with people that are on the same mental path as you and understanding as you is really important, because a lot of the times going to PT school or just any type of like doctorate type of program, it takes a lot of sacrifice on your family, your social life, your friends, your spouses, to have like a support group that understands that you're going through and what you're going through is also really important, and I like that.
They have a really good balance, it seems like, of like school and play,
And
which is important.
And also, like, I know today we went on July 5th. Nobody was there. School was off. We had and another enrollment advisor like come in on the day they really didn't need to. But the point what I'm trying to make is there weren't any students there. So we really just saw like the facility. We didn't actually get to see the students interact, but I can just say from my previous visits that I definitely second everything that the enrollment advisor said. From the students that I've talked to, like they've really said that, like, you know, like when you're trying to get into school, it's really competitive, but as soon as you're in, like everyone's just trying to help each other succeed.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what cohort you're in, everyone's really trying to catch you before you can even hit a point where you can fall that low.
And I think that at that point is where it really becomes family. And I've heard of other PT schools kind of pinning students against each other for like spots and things of that nature. And I think here it just genuinely felt like a family. And so that's something that personally to me is like really important.
And the faculty is all there, when they notice you're struggling in the class, that they're there to help you do better in the class, so you don't have to, so you're not behind everyone else in your cohort, which is good, because some schools just won't care, honestly. So another thing about University of St. Augustine is that the advisors really care about the students and they're advocates for the students. So when they're looking at the students' applications, and if there's a few things that they think that student should do to strengthen their application, like they will let that student know, be like, hey, like you should like maybe retake this class, or maybe retake the GRE to strengthen your application. Because the one good thing about University of St. Augustine is that they have cohorts starting in May, September, and January. So you have like plenty of time within 1 year to apply to the schools, and you can apply when you're ready, which is something that they really stress. Because you can only have 2 declines from the University of St. Augustine. So it's always really good to like make sure your application is like pristine enough there before you apply, especially since there's so many opportunities just within 1 full year to apply to these schools, or this school.
So one question that I asked on the tour, and something that I ask every physical therapy school that I visit, is how they accommodate for students' learning styles, whether that be kinetic, audio, and visual, because I feel like I am a combination of all three. So having all three kind of implemented into the program is something that is personally very important to me. So when we were on the tour, they actually explained the fact that we have hands-on class labs with actual patients, which I really appreciated. We obviously get the PowerPoints and the discussion. We actually found out that there's more of discussion classes as opposed to sit down and watch these 40 slides type of class, which I really appreciate. And that we also get the online access that the online and hybrid classes get of the actual lecture that the professor will be teaching on. So you watch your lectures online as opposed to having them personally in class. And then once you're completed with that, you have a person-to-person discussion in class with your whole cohort and your professors, plus the hands-on learning with actual patients. So that was something that I was really personally impressed by, because I need all three attributes of learning in order to be a very successful student.
And I guess something I'll add on to that is one reason why I really love this was the online learning. The reason I like that is because I've heard from other PT students that like they'll be in class, and you know how sometimes you have a professor that either just talks way too slow or just reads straight off the slide, and you just kind of lose rhythm. You don't want to take notes. gonna be on your phone or laptop anyway, doing things you probably aren't supposed to do in class.
We all have done it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Just cut the shenanigans.
So now it's on your own pace.
Right.
Now you can go write notes at your own pace. You want to do diagrams as you go, you can do that.
And my thing is like I like to already in class, like I like to record because I play back and I take notes and I go through my notes because I have to add the audio and the visual. So for me, I like the fact like, oh crap, I missed something. I don't have to freak out. I can just rewind it, and that's pretty like awesome. Yeah. Or if at like 3 a.m. there's something that I'm like, oh no, I think I missed that in class. I can just rewind.
And you can control the speed. So if it's like talking too slow, put it at 1.5. You know, so
that's a good point.
There's that too.
And this is for the residential program, not the flex, because the University of St. Augustine does have the more like in-person classes and like the completely online. So the advisor did say like pretty much the entire program is hybrid, but there's just a little bit more in-person stuff with the residential compared to the flex.
And the fully flex portion, you also do come in for your practicums and the hands-on stuff. So don't think that because you're online, you're clicking away at some odd thing. No, you actually do get your hands-on in class. I'm not sure about how frequently you have to come in. That's something that you guys can check out on your own. But you do have the ability to come in, and you have access to the labs as well and the library and things of that nature.
Yeah. It's definitely less than the residential program though, that they have to come in. So one big thing that really impressed me with the University of St. Augustine is that since it is just a health science college, that there's a lot of interaction between the OT and the PA students. Because apparently, I learned this today, I think it was the third highest reason cause of death, or the third highest cause of death is lack of communication between health professionals. Which is crazy.
Yeah.
So I found that's amazing that they do a lot of interaction between all the health science students, just because that's just building on your communication skills and being personable and being professional, which is something St. Augustine really strives for in their students.
So one thing that really impressed me when I was visiting the University of St. Augustine were the ADL lab and I think it was the human dummy that it had a setup inside where it was a mock model of a hospital. So that was, for me personally, really impressive. And the fact that there's more of a discussion with your professors as opposed to a regurgitation of information, in that you just sit and watch PowerPoints. I like having a discussion. For me, I feel like it personally deepens my understanding as opposed to just, that copy and paste mentality that is traditionally encouraged in undergrad.
All right, so 2 things impressed me. And the first thing was that every time I've been to this school, I want to say 3, if not 4 times now.
Wow.
Every time I've been there, something new is happening. With either a new room is built, a new simulation is built. This time it's new buildings are being built.
Yeah.
And it's 2, if not 3 buildings that are being built.
Construction going on, a lot of construction.
Exactly. So they're always striving to make the experience for the students better. They realize that they are training the future of healthcare. And so if you're gonna keep up with the times, you gotta keep building yourself. And so that was really impressive to me. It shows that they're not just keeping their money, they're actually investing it into the future.
And it was a genuinely pretty campus.
Yeah.
And there's free valet, which blew my mind. I was like, what? Free valet for the students.
Don't have to worry about tipping. That's covered too.
And because you all know, being an undergrad student, that schools love to have so many students and so little parking. You don't have to worry about that at St. Augustine, just free valet parking.
And the second point that I was really impressed with today was just seeing how genuine the staff was, how caring they were. Even just seeing them come in today to be with us, and they were just talking about how they like to picture themselves in our shoes. They realize that getting into PT school is a huge commitment. It's not just getting into undergrad. This is your career here, and so they take it seriously because they know we're taking it seriously.
It's the rest of your life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's almost a feeling it's just treating us as people that are committed. They know what they want. It's not just students like, here you
Yeah,
go.
I agree. I didn't feel like a number when I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't feel like a number.
100%.
I feel like they would genuinely remember our names and would genuinely like look into our application, any concerns that we have.
Right.
And I feel like I knew the school. It's weird. What?
It was very personable.
Yeah, like now that I think about it, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't just like, oh, look, here's a new applicant that I can deny or try to get as much money as I can from them. Like, they actually, because they know, like, this is physical therapy, you're getting an education for the rest of your life. Like, this is going to be your career. So they took all of us very seriously, which is awesome.
Do that. All right, guys. So at the end of our talk today, we just kind of asked the enrollment advisors, like, what is some advice that you might give students if they were low GPA students and they wanted to apply to St. Augustine maybe a year or two out from now? One of the things that I remembered from this was that to start early, like right now, if you're not sure what to do, start reaching out to St. Augustine. They have outreach coordinators who are specifically, like, their job is to reach out to candidates like you who are interested in the school and who are genuinely interested in getting you on the right track, so that by the time 1 year, 2 years out from now, you're going to be ready to go, and you won't have to be worried about if you still have to retake any classes or is your GRE high enough. Like, they'll be there to help you with those questions.
Uncertainty out of
Exactly.
it, which was interesting. And if you're in high school and you're watching this video and you already have that like gut feeling that you want to do physical therapy, I had that feeling, start reaching out like from now. I think one of the things that made this journey even longer, aside from the fact I wanted to do physical therapy since I was in 8th grade, is not knowing how to navigate or where to even get the resources to start navigating. So if you're watching this and you're in high school and you already have that feeling of you're wanting to do that, start reaching out to schools now. The admissions coordinator even told us that they've had a few high school students even start reaching out, which I wish I would have done. So I'm telling you guys now.
And one thing for like the low GPA students, like if your cumulative GPA is under that 3.0, like they totally understand that, and that's why they look at your cumulative, the prereq GPA, the science GPA, and then the last 40 to 60 credit hours. So you have ways to improve your GPA and like still, like even with your low cumulative GPA, you have other ways to still like make yourself stand out by like retaking those prereq classes to bump up your GPA.
And they also take into account experiences, because I asked that as well.
Yes.
Not all PT schools look at your experiences in the various sites that you have done. They actually prefer if you've done more sites, because that shows that you've invested into the career field and you're wanting to know as much as you possibly can about this field before you start. Because personally, that's something that I've done. I made sure to get a really well-rounded experience from various backgrounds, from various facilities, whether that be in clinic, out clinic, hospital, private, peds, neuro, orthopedic, all that stuff, geriatrics, so wound care. Like, really engulf yourself, because once again, this is the rest of your life. You should know what you are signing up for, and they know if you don't know. They can tell when students aren't committed, and they can tell when a student really hasn't done their research about the field in general.
And also, just to add to that, the holistic view, like, they read your essays too. Don't think that they don't. Like, they go through each and every essay, and it's handled by an individual person. Like, you literally have another person, live human being with a family, reading that paper and sending it to another person. So it's not like
cried on one.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So take those essays seriously. What else would I like to say about being holistic?
And one thing too, which is really nice, is like obviously like your GRE and GPA are still important, but you're not just a number to the school. Like, you're not just a GPA and you're just not a GRE score, which is nice how they look at everything. So it really is like, how is this person as a whole, and not just, oh, like this is their GPA and GRE, let me accept or deny them.
Oh, and I guess the last thing I'll say is like the harder you work with them, the harder they'll work with you too. So
that's a good point.
they definitely look for that commitment. So if you're young, if you're a couple years out, if you're kind of lost, make sure you reach out to them now, and like they'll give you guidance. Take that, keep them updated, show them that you really want this, and they're gonna help you as much as they can as well. And it's time to wrap it up.
Yeah, I do want to wrap.
All right guys, thank you so much for joining us on this video. Hope you found it helpful. If you guys like this video, be sure to hit that like button. If you guys want to see more, hit that subscribe button. Links and handles to Nyasha, Abrams, and Gail will be down below in the comments. Gail also has a YouTube channel. I'll put down that link in the description box. You can go ahead and check that out. But that is it, guys. We're out. Whee!